The following is a JourneyWise Network production.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Choosing Cheer podcast. My name is Nicolet Bell and I am your host. I'm so excited that you have chosen to join us on our journey of choosing cheer. In today's episode, I'm joined by my husband, Preston, and I am so excited to have him on the show. It's a special episode to me as we talk about choosing cheer in our relationships. This episode hit us in a real way. We got up at 6:30 in the morning to record this episode before the baby got up and before Preston went in to work. And we finished recording the episode. The baby woke up. We started going about our normal day, but pretty quickly we realized that it wasn't going to be a normal day at all. Our daughter had an anaphylactic reaction to peanut butter. And it quickly became a very scary situation. I was home by myself and quickly became a very scary situation. She is okay, and we are so thankful for that. And we're figuring out what this is going to mean for this season of our life as we navigate this with her. In the episode, Preston says, "Today we're going to have some kind of trouble." And so at the end of the day, after we had recorded the episode, been to the doctor, all of the chaos surrounding this event that had happened in our day, he looked at me and he said, "So today we're going to have trouble, aren't we?" And I said, "Don't you dare ever say that at 6:30 in the morning, ever again." But I think it shows the importance of this scripture that we spend our time focusing on in the Choosing Cheer podcast and how it intersects with our everyday life, where Jesus tells his disciples in John 16:33 that in this world you will have trouble, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. So that in these moments of chaos and anxiety surrounding whatever it is that we might be navigating that day, that we can choose to focus on Jesus, that we can choose to seek him, and that we can choose at the end of the day to still remain and abide in his joy and his cheer, is a lesson that we all need to learn. And Preston and I surely learned it the day we recorded this podcast. So would you jump into today's conversation as we talk more about choosing cheer in our relationships? Well, I'm so excited today because my husband Preston is joining us on the podcast. I twisted his arm just enough and he agreed to be on. Preston has to be the number one choosing cheer supporter. You have listened to all the podcasts multiple times. You have heard me practice for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You have been just a great supporter. So I just am so excited that you are on the episode today, babe.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
cool.
I thought we would take a minute and as sorry, y'all, our voices are recovering. Last week, neither one of us could talk at all. So we actually had to push this recording back a week. So anyways, we're still struggling a little bit, but we're much, much better. So we're going to push through today if that's okay with you guys. So Preston, I thought we'd start by just talking about like how we met, a little bit of our story. Just tell everybody just a little bit about us.
Well, when we first met at Southern Miss, and I first asked you on a date, it was an interesting way to ask you on a date.
Yes, I would say so.
I had a big test the next day, and on the way to class, I was like, "Hey, Nicolette, we have this date party coming up in a few days. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to go because of this test that I have, but if I do go, do you want to go?" And you said,
Yeah.
"Yeah." And so I was like, "Okay, perfect." And so then the next day I texted you and was like, "Hey, I'm going to hold out on going to the date party." And then the reply text that I got was, "Oh, great, I'm so excited!" Exclamation point. So I was like, okay, I guess I am gonna go.
Who asks somebody on a date if they're going to go? That is like, that's never happened to me
Yeah,
before you.
but I'm glad we
I
did.
guess I didn't really get
Glad-
asked out after you either. So, but that's,
That's true. It was, from what you tell me, it was an awkward night, but I had a good time.
It was. It was a very awkward night, but it was a good night too because it was the start of our relationship. But it was very awkward, mainly because you really had not been in a whole lot of
True.
relationships,
Yeah.
right? Not because he couldn't have been, y'all. I mean, I'm a little biased, but he's pretty good looking. He is cool. You were popular. I mean, you were an athlete. You were in a fraternity. Like you were a pretty cool dude, and you had plenty of opportunity to go out with
Sure.
girls. Is my point. But you hadn't really done a whole lot of that, so it was pretty awkward in the beginning. But that's also what made it really special and really different. It was very different in the beginning. So fast forward about what, like 3 weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later.
Something like that. Yeah.
So Preston like didn't text me at all. Like I didn't hear from him at all after the state party. So I went, okay, he must not really have, had that much fun. I'm just moving on, whatever. I'm just rocking along with my life, doing my thing. And I bump into him on campus and he says, hey, do you want to go to lunch or dinner? And I said, sure, I guess so. Yeah, okay. So he texts me, whatever, and we end up at dinner at a place called Qdoba. And what you need to know about Qdoba is it's like Subway with Mexican food, right? So you like go down the line and tell them what you want.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great. We don't have one where
No.
we live and kind of wish we did. But so you go down the line and here's where it gets complicated. I ordered nachos.
I ordered quesadilla.
And Preston ordered quesadilla. So the quesadilla had to be prepared, right? Like it had to be cooked. So he does this thing, the quesadilla gets on the little presser cooker thing.
Mhm.
And I make it all the way down the line to the cash register. The lady's ringing me up at the cash register. And then she asks me a really important question. She looks at me and she says, is this together or separate? And I said, I don't know. And she said, what do you mean you don't know? And I said, I mean, I don't know. And she said, well, are you on a date or not? And I said, I don't know. And she said, well, honey, you just better pay for your food. And so I gave her my credit card, paid for my food. Preston comes on down minutes later, pays for his food, never mentions a word about me paying for my food. It was absolutely hysterical. I think your mom almost died when she first heard the story that you didn't pay for my food on our first date. But we had a great conversation
We did.
that day.
Yeah.
That was a really great conversation that day. I think that was the first day that I realized that in relationships in the past, I had come out of a relationship a few months before you and I started like kind of dating,
Yeah.
talking. That's what you called it
Yeah.
when we were in college. It's not what you call it anymore. But I had come out of a relationship that was very romantic, like over the top romantic, like exactly what you would think of in a movie or a book. Big romantic gestures, very showy, but it left me like in a huge heartache afterwards because it was a lot of a show and not a lot of real to it. And Preston, I think our relationship was just the exact opposite of that, right? Like there was like no show at all. But I think that was the first conversation that I knew that you genuinely had a relationship with Jesus. Like I think in the past I had to initiate a lot of conversation in relationship, like surrounding faith and relationships I had been in the past. I had to be the one to bring that up, and guys would talk about it because they knew I was into it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But with you, like I knew for sure, like you had your own relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
And I could tell like you were friends with him. And so it just overflowed in our conversation. And that was so different to me and so rare. And it was such a gift.
Yeah.
It was such a gift to us in the beginning of our relationship. And it's still such a gift to me now. So we went on a few dates.
Yep. And then
we went fishing.
Yeah, we did go fishing. That was interesting.
Why was that interesting?
Well, it was just interesting. I mean, you were fly fishing, and I was surprised that you caught a fish.
Yeah, I had never fly fished before,
Yeah.
but now I have done a lot of fly fishing because I'm your wife. And now I actually love it. So
Yeah.
that's cool. That's a story for another day. But so we go on a few dates and then you leave. Tell everybody where you're going.
Well, I left for the summer to do a fundraiser on a bike. I rode my bike across the country to raise some money for people with disabilities. And while I'm on this ride, we're riding a lot during the day.
But like, I just want to point out, like, Preston always glosses over this comment. Like, we're in conversation with people, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I just went on this little bike ride." Like, whatever. Like, he literally rode his bike from Washington State to Washington D.C. So what was it, like 4,000,
Yeah, like 4,200 miles.
4,200 miles? So they're riding like what, 70 to 100 miles
Yeah,
a day, most days.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the first few days, we were all used to it. But you spend a lot of time on the bike. You're on the bike for 8 hours just talking to each other. And I was like, yeah, there's this girl back home. I really like her. I think I'm gonna marry her. And so, whenever I got back, I was pretty serious about pursuing you at that point.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while you're going on the bike, I like hardly hear from him at all because, like we said, he's not really had a lot of relationships. So he doesn't text. Like, that's not a
Not a big texter.
big texter. So you're riding your bike, doing your thing. Meanwhile, I'm back at home going on dates with other people. He's
Yeah.
off telling people he's going to marry them. And I'm like, not sitting around waiting on him because I haven't heard from him. And I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. However, I did write you letters and send you goodies
You did.
on every single one of your stops. And
Very.
y'all, you had to like plan in advance for these things. You had to like, it had to be there 2 weeks before he got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It
were
was
very faithful in that. Yeah.
encouraging you in that. So you come back
Hmm.
from the background. You like decide you want to marry me.
Yeah.
After that, there was a change.
Yeah.
There was a definite change in our relationship. I could tell you were serious. I could
Mhm.
tell your intent. So from there, we started seriously dating,
Mhm.
and it was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was a true gift. So I want to fast forward. Now we've been married for, this is working on our 7th year of
Yeah.
marriage, and we are drinking our coffee early in the morning. We've got the baby monitor right here. We have Josie Lou. She's 16 months old. She's our miracle girl. We'll tell that story another day. But you tell them what you do.
Well, I'm in my 3rd year of internal medicine residency, so did med school here in Nicolet. Helped get me through med school for
Yeah.
4 years, and
I
then
think I should have like an honorary doctor, MD,
yeah,
beside my name.
yeah. I mean,
I'm like practically a doctor.
pretty much. So yeah. So I'm just a few more months away, and then I'll be done with residency. So
That's exciting. I'm
Yeah.
really proud.
it's
Okay.
fun.
So what do we do for fun?
Well,
We work a lot.
we
You and I
do.
both work a lot. We spend a lot of time with the baby.
We did really like to ride bikes together.
Yeah, we
We
did.
spent a lot of time riding bikes after I came back from my big bike ride or
Yeah,
whatever.
I bought a bike, like a
Yeah.
serious big girl bike, and we rode a lot of bikes. We had a lot of good conversations
On the bike.
on
Yeah.
a bike. Yeah, especially like fall and spring.
Yeah.
Perfect time
We
to be
haven't
on a
biked
bike.
much lately though.
No, we're thinking about getting one of those baby
Oh yeah.
attachments to our bikes so we can start taking the baby
Yeah.
on a bike. Anybody out there has one of those that you'd like to recommend to us? We'd love your recommendation. But
Yes.
we like to bike. We like to fly fish. We talked about that a little bit.
Oh yeah.
We love
did.
to like go places and
Yeah.
fly fish. Mississippi does not have the best
Yeah.
fly fishing. So we went to Montana last year. That was awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
We were like chipping ice off of our fly lines. It was freezing, but we caught a lot of fish.
We did.
It was a lot of fun. So as I said at the beginning of our conversation, Preston, I think you are the one who has probably heard the most about choosing cheer.
Mhm.
Not just the podcast, but the concept, right? So
Yeah.
we've been together. We've been married 7 years. We dated 2 years. We're engaged a year. So we've been together about 10 years now,
Yeah.
which is awesome and crazy to think about because that makes us feel old. I know we're not, but anyways, okay. So we've been together about 10 years, and it's so neat because the Lord was really working this concept of choosing cheer in my life
Yeah.
long before this podcast was even a thought or an idea. I would write about it, I would study it, I would teach about it. He was cultivating in me this concept. And I think for me, one of the hardest spaces to live out this concept is in our relationships.
Mhm.
All relationships, but especially those relationships that you are the closest in. I feel like a lot of times I give a lot of joy out to the world, to my workplace, to just strangers, people in the world. And then when I come home, it's like I've spent it all. And I'm very quick to be angry, or I'll snap or make a harsh comment, those kind of things. And it's funny, I'll like finish up writing an article or
Mm-hmm.
studying a podcast or writing a sermon or writing on a book, and then have like this very uncheerful, very unjoyful, very unmarked by Jesus comment. And so I think that, relationships, and particularly marriage, is one of the hardest places to have that joy in the relationship. So let's talk for a little bit about like how do we choose cheer in our relationship? Like that's important to you too. It's not just a concept
Right.
that's important to me.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's in your closest relationships, you kind of let your guard down and
Right.
it's kind of a barometer of like how you actually are at
Oh,
times, you know?
yeah.
Um,
I used to say like marriage was like holding up a mirror at yourself
yeah, yeah.
and really seeing
You
all of
know,
your yuckiness.
I would say, choosing cheer, Jesus says you're gonna have trouble,
In
but
John 16:33.
be of good cheer because I've overcome the world. And
Hmm.
so, we've just like anybody have faced our own set of troubles, and
Right.
we've kind of come to know and expect that even on a daily basis, there's going to be some element of trouble. And so I
Right.
think knowing that kind of helps us as well. That hey, like it's going to be there,
Hmm.
and then as we look to Jesus, He helps us to be able to out of that overflow of the joy that He gives us to kind of look to each other's interests.
Yeah.
Just
So tell us about where that comes from, because that's
yeah.
coming. That's a language that we use in our marriage and in our life, in our home, very frequently, because it was read in our wedding ceremony. It's
Mm-hmm.
something we keep reading over and over again.
Yeah, and Philippians 2, and talking about the mindset of Christ and to look not only to your own interests, but to the interests of others. And so
Hmm.
when I'm in that mindset of being able to, looking to Jesus as my source of joy, I'm able to look to your interest,
Hmm.
and that whenever I make a mistake or
Hmm.
snap or do something that hurts you,
Hmm.
I feel that we're pretty quick to apologize to each other and
Yeah.
own that and confess that, and that allows us to, I feel like, acknowledge that and then choose joy quickly after that,
Hmm.
to kind of continue in that
Hmm.
instead of continuing
Not
in.
holding on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So I think that when we talk about Philippians 2, I think it's really easy for people to read that passage and go, gosh, that sounds really selfish. Like you're supposed to look to my interests, but not your interests,
Right.
and I'm supposed to look to your interests and not my interests. And how can we look out for each other if we're not taking care of ourselves? Like that whole kind of, in a world that like is all about self care and all those things. But guys, I think what is important to point out in this is that nobody's interests are being left unmet, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm looking to your interest, Preston, and you're looking to my interest, then both of our interests are being
Yeah.
met. Both of our interests are being attended to. So it's just a really selfless way of being able
Yeah.
to do that.
And I feel like
It's hard to do.
yeah, I feel like I'm more likely to, whenever you snap at me for some reason
Mhm.
or make a comment to me for some reason that, it makes me feel disrespected or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm more likely to see that as something that is bothering you, something is going on in your life,
Mm.
and for me to figure out and be patient and see like, what's bothering Nicolette, what's going on with her to
Mhm.
make her kind of react that way. If I'm in that, headspace of, looking to Jesus and finding my source of joy from Him and not from you or from work or from anything else.
Yeah, because usually most of the time, like we get upset at each other, it's that one of us is distracted or upset about something else,
Yeah.
right? And we bring it into our relationship, and it then affects our home and our
Mm-hmm.
interactions, like, right?
Yeah.
So it's this being able to differentiate that is, I think, a really important part of being able to choose cheer or choose joy in
Yeah.
your relationship. So when we talk about choosing cheer in our relationship, it's a challenge a lot of the times. Not because we don't have joy, not because we don't have fun together. I think we have a lot of fun together,
Yeah, we do.
don't you? We laugh a lot in our home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of laughing in this house, in our relationship, just in our life in general. I think we think silly things are funny. A lot of the times we get tickled about silly things. So we definitely have joy in each other. We make each other joyful. But when it gets a little off kilter, if I'm coming to you, asking you or expecting you to fulfill my need for joy in my life, right? So if I come to you, Preston, and I'm going like, I need you to make me joyful or make me happy,
Yeah.
that puts a lot of pressure on you,
Yeah.
and I end up disappointed because you are not the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
right? And so it's different when I am going to Jesus and saying, Jesus, give me your joy.
Yeah.
Extend to me your peace, asking for your joy in my life. Then when I come to you, I'm able to share and extend that joy
Yeah.
to you out of an overflow of a place of already being filled up with that joy.
Yeah.
So it's not on short, right?
Yeah.
So there's a huge difference in that. And I think that's a really big part of choosing cheer in any relationship, not just marriage, right? So if that could be in a parent child relationship, that could be in a sibling relationship, that could be in a dating relationship, it could be in a friendship, it could be in a work relationship. If we are looking to somebody else to fill us up with joy or to make us happy, we will end up disappointed and they will end up feeling pressured
Yeah.
that they were never meant to feel. But when we find our joy in the person of Jesus through the Holy Spirit who lives in us, joy is a fruit of the Spirit. So when we're abiding in the Spirit, when we are spending time with Jesus, prayer, the word, talking about him in our families and in our homes, then that joy is what springs up out of us.
Yeah.
And we're able to share that with others, even when our circumstances, aren't good, perhaps, and that's exactly what our scripture is about, right? In this world, you will have trouble. Be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. Because our joy isn't sourced in how you treat me at any given moment, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have joy when you treat me
Sure.
with love and respect and, all of the things that come along with that. But that's not like where my joy is like rooted in.
Yeah.
And so it allows us to be a lot more free, I feel like, with each other and
Absolutely.
expressing that joy. There's not chains attached to it. Did you have a thought?
No, I was gonna say, I mean, you mentioned kind of just feeling free. I mean, I feel like we're more likely to, whenever we're in that kind of space, we're able to be honest with each other
Yes.
about our needs, able to be honest with each other about what we're struggling with, which also, allows us to lean on one another and find joy in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And I think it leads to us being able to be quick to pray for one another and with each other too. That out of that overflow, it's like, hey, how can I pray for you? Or even you being like, hey, can you just pray for me about this? Or I had a difficult day today, with one of the patients I was interacting with and their family, and you're like, oh, let's just pray about this right now. And I think that helps steer us and keep our eyes on Jesus as our source and not each other as the source.
Right. And we're not perfect at that.
No.
Goodness no. We struggle with that a whole lot. But I do feel like when we do pray, when we do read and study, and when we're just seeking Jesus, our lives are more aligned with that.
Not easier, but more joyful.
That's right. That's right. There's a difference between those two. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think that also I have trouble asking for help.
Yeah.
It's so I will like feel like I have the whole world on my shoulders and not ask for help. And when I'm looking at you to make me happy by doing things for me, I end up being disappointed and like not fulfilled. And so I think that living in that state of like having the joy of Jesus in me allows me also to acknowledge like, hey, I'm a little overwhelmed. I need some help with
exactly.
X. Yeah. Gives me the freedom to be honest and to be able to do that. Okay, so we end every podcast by asking who's cheering you on or who's your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
And this is super sweet for me today because can I answer that question? I don't normally get to answer it, but I want to this morning because you are, Preston, you're the one who cheers me on. And I think that one of your biggest spiritual gifts is encouragement. you are such an encourager, and that has been such a gift to me over and over and over again throughout our years of being together. And this is no exception to that.
Mm.
So
Well, thanks for saying that.
you're welcome. You're welcome. I'll let you answer too. And you don't have to say me. Why don't you say somebody besides me?
Oh
That would
man,
be.
I was definitely gonna say you.
Oh, I messed you up.
Um, I mean, I would say my dad's always has always built me
Yes.
up, has always taken the opportunity to tell me no matter what or how I was doing that he was proud of me, and that was always spoken into me, even now.
Yeah. And I think that his influence in that
Absolutely.
comes across in the way that you are able to encourage others. And our daughter already hear you. You just tell her how beautiful she is and
Yeah,
what
she
a
is
good
beautiful.
job she did. We're a little biased about how beautiful she is.
That's right.
So yeah, it's been such a privilege to have you on today, babe, and you
Thank
will
you.
get to come back
Okay.
again.
All right.
So, guys, we are just so glad you have joined us, and I hope that hearing about how we choose cheer in our relationship will encourage you to do the same in your relationships, no matter what season you find yourself in, that the joy of Jesus would come out of you as an overflow and spill into the relationships in your life. And just know we're praying for you. We pray for the people who are tuning in and listening. So we're praying for you this week, and we pray that you have a great week, and we will see you back next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.